When you think of Funko Pops, they all kind of have a specific look to them. You know, large head, arms to the side, smaller body, big black eyes. But there is also a lot of characters that Funko has created that don't look anything like that. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I've got a great list of them, starting with Mike Wizowski. Try to picture Mike Wizowski in your head. It looks exactly like this pop. And I think the reason it is so accurate to him is the way they did the eyeball, where there's white around it instead of it just being black, which makes the black part look almost like his pupil, which really does take away a lot from him. And I understand that Mike Wizowski is a little bit rounder in the movie, but he still is pretty round here. I think the idea that they were going for is they wanted to make his entire body kind of look like the head of a Funko Pop and then just put his normal arms and legs on there, which definitely makes for an interesting character that doesn't really look like a pop. Now next up here we have Peely, a Fortnite character that doesn't really look like a Fortnite skin actually in general. He's literally just a big banana, so when it comes to the Funko Pop, it also doesn't look like a normal character because he's got a pretty slender body and he does have those black eyes, but besides that, nothing else is different. Like, it is super accurate to how he looks in the game. Like, it's pretty much like they ripped the skin directly from it. And now I'm kind of curious, does he have, yes, he does have the Nana Nana sticker on the back. I didn't know if he did, but there it is. And actually, you know what, now that I've taken him out of the box, he looks even weirder because, like, if this was on a shelf, you wouldn't think it's a pop. And of course, you might if you have it in your collection or have collected Funko Pops for a while, but if you're just somebody passing by, you'd be like, that's a cool Peely figure and not a Funko Pop. Now, this is kind of funny. Keeping it yellow themed, we have one from Star Trek Lower Decks, and it is Badgy. Now, very similar to Peely, this one does have the big black eyes, but besides that, there is nothing different about him. If you've seen Badgy in the show, you would know he looks pretty much exactly like this. Also, he is way thinner than a normal pop, making him look exactly like the badge. Oh, and also another thing that I forgot to mention is that Funko Pops don't regularly have mouths, and so far, I mean, besides Mike Wizowski, both Peely and Badgy have had them. Now that I'm saying their names back to back, Peely, Badgy, and they're both yellow, they're pretty similar. But anyways, getting back to it here, the arms are also very accurate to the animation style of the show, so that is another thing that takes it away from the regular pop. Now we are jumping back into some Disney characters, and the one that I've got here, it's actually in a protector because it's a bit older and kind of expensive, but it is Mrs. Potts and Chip. Also, if I had Lumiere, I would definitely put him on this list too. Because similar to Mrs. Potts and Chip, he looks completely different, and I understand that his candle top is a little bit bigger, but still, it's not a normal head. And I guess with this one here, very similar to Mike Wizowski, they did try to kind of like square off Mrs. Potts and Chip a little more than usual, but actually now that I'm saying that, it's more so Mrs. Potts than Chip. Chip looks pretty much exactly how he does in the movie. He just doesn't have a mouth, of course, and then Mrs. Potts is also looking really interesting. I think the one thing that does kind of take them out of being the actual character from the thing is the eyes, though, because they don't have more detail than just the black circles. But besides that, there's no body here, there's no arms to the side. I mean, there's kind of a large head, but this is what they look like. So let me know what you guys think, because I know Chip doesn't look like a pop, but would you say Mrs. Potts does? Now, everybody, let's get into a television show where we've got Yo Gabba Gabba's Muno. Just like Mike Wizowski, he's got that big eye with the pupil as the black circle. And funny enough, if you take a look on the back here, all of the other ones, well, actually, hold on a second. Maybe Tootie and Broby are kind of not like Funko Pops, but the other three definitely do look like them. And it's because he's got the mouth, he doesn't have the eyes, his head isn't large. It's kind of just like a Yo Gabba Gabba toy if you took it out of the box. Also, pretty crazy that this was the second television show they ever created in the line, because the first one was The Simpsons, then second up was this. Definitely not similar in any way, but hey, I am still so glad they made these. Ooh, right, I forgot that I grabbed this one. It is actually Despicable Me's Carl, and if you guys don't know, they've made a bunch of different Minions, and I would say every single Minion does not look like a pop. And it goes back to that eye, as well as their head not being bigger, and it's definitely because they're using that black circle as the pupil. Like, I could show you dozens of Minions, and you would say the exact same thing for all of them. That's a Funko Pop? And it's true, they don't really look like them, because they don't have larger heads, their entire body is kind of just like a pill shape, and then their arms and feet are regular size. Also, when it comes to the hair, it looks exactly the same. Like, there's no style stylization going on here. It literally is just a Minion. Now, this is a bit of a newer character, and it's actually coming from Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary, the Brachiosaurus. One that I definitely want to take out of the box because it is a bigger figure. And again, the only thing that's similar about it is the black eyes, but besides that, the head is the normal size. I also love that they made this a bigger figure because putting it next to the other ones from Jurassic Park, it's kind of more proportionate. Also, if they would have put it into a normal size box, I don't know how long that neck could have actually been, but I'm loving the leaves in his mouth as well as the body being the, pretty much exact size that a Brachiosaurus would have. And now, of course, this does look a little bit cuter because of how small it is, but if you were to blow it up to full size, it would really look like a dinosaur. Not that it doesn't look like one now, but you know what I mean. Oh, right. This is a really great one. We've actually got one from Don't Starve, and I know what you're thinking right away. Wilson definitely looks like a Pop, but his little buddy Chester does not, and it's because they actually made him look exactly like he is in the game. If you've never played Don't Starve before, you can pick a character like Wilson here, and then you can also have a companion to go along with you, and I believe you have to find them in the world, and so Chester is one of those guys that you bump into. And now I know that you guys could be counting this as a bundle, and maybe it's just kind of like a bonus to go along with Wilson, but if you take a look on the bottom of him, they actually put all like the legal and licensing stuff, so he is a separate character. And actually, now that I think about it, me talking about this will come in handy later on, because there's an interesting pop that I'm going to be showing you. Oh, right. This is a crazy one, and it's actually one that I've talked about in these types of videos before, where I show you Funko Pops that don't look like Pops. But the one that I've got here is actually something that I picked up literally for these types of videos, because I knew it was going to be a unique one. It's actually kind of expensive now. We have the New York Comic Con exclusive Iron Throne. Yeah, that's right, guys. It's literally just the throne from Game of Thrones, and I've got to take this out of the box because it is a little bit hard to see. It's really cool, though. If you guys are wondering what year this released, it actually would have been, let me check on the bottom here, 2015. It's almost its 10-year anniversary. I remember vividly going over to Hot Topic and me thinking I was only going to pick up one Funko Pop for New York Comic Con that year, but they were like, there's 3 of them. You've got to get them all. And it was this one, as well as the Jack Skellington with Vampire Teddy, and then there was a third one as well. For some reason, I'm blanking on what that was, but either way, this is just such an interesting pop. And, I mean, come on, guys. You can't tell me this looks like a normal character. I'm pretty sure this one was created, though, so that way you could take your other Game of Thrones characters and put them on the throne, but then later on, they actually did the characters sitting on the throne, so you didn't really need this one anymore. But it is still so fun to have in the collection because it is a unique character, and all the swords kind of look a little bit cuter, so I guess there's that, like, aspect to it, where it's not, like, so pointy like it is in the show. But I'll show you, though, this is the backside here, and it goes all the way around. Now getting into our first Pixar pop of the day, we've got WallE. I feel like I've said this for pretty much every single one of the characters, but it looks like they completely just took WallE right out of the movie, and here he is. I also grabbed this version because it's got more detail, which usually makes it look less like a pop, and it's honestly exactly the same. Maybe, now maybe, the eyes could be, argued that it isn't exactly how WallE's are, because his are lenses, not just black. But I mean, they are pretty close, and I love how they made him like slightly higher. He's also got the trash cube in the front there, and if you take a look really closely, it's got the cockroach on top. This also isn't the only version of WallE that they've done. There was one that was created a long time ago, maybe back in like, I don't know, 2011, 2012. That one actually doesn't look like a pop either, but this one looks even less like a figure. Well, hold on, it's a figure, less like a Funko Pop. You know what I'm talking about. And anyways, that's why I went with this one and not the original, just because there's so much going on. Now, everybody, our first Star Wars pop of the day, and I could probably do any of the droids that's released, or at least any of the ones that kind of look like R2-D2. Now, don't quote me on this, but I believe it would be an astromech droid. And anyways, if you guys want to take a look at him here, I grabbed Chopper. I mean, he's so perfect. Also, I went with the Ahsoka version of Chopper, not the one from Rebels, because that is an animated version of him, so there's less detail. But when it comes to this one here, he's got his wheel out in the middle, he's got a bunch of like junk on the front, or like, the different things that he would use to like hack into stuff, as well as like tweezers. I don't know what he's got in there, but either way, there is so much going on. And also the way they did this too, they almost made him look weathered to look even less like a pop. I think that's honestly so fun. And also the eyes up at the top here are like his lenses, kind of like WallE. I don't know if they're eyes exactly, but the way they did them aren't larger than usual. They're just the regular size for Chopper. And also the way they did the head too, you can't really shrink it or make it bigger. It would look really odd. So here he is, everybody, just a normal Chopper figure that's got a bit of a bobble. And now, everybody, we have the largest box of the day with Snap, Crackle, and Pop inside. And now I know what you guys are thinking, Tristan, they definitely look like Funko Pops, and I know that, but there's actually a hidden fourth figure inside. And you remember how we talked about it earlier with Chester, how he has the licensing on the bottom, so he's technically a character? Well, let me grab this one here for you, because you may have noticed there's also a bowl of cereal inside. Oh, it actually looks like it's stuck in the front here, and yeah, when you take a look on the bottom, everybody, it actually has the date as well as all of the legal stuff, making it a real pop, and here it is, just a bowl of Rice Krispies. Definitely the weirdest pop that I have in my collection, and sometimes when they put other things in the box, they don't put anything on the bottom, so this, I guess they're kind of counting as a real Funko Pop. Because of course, guys, we can take a look at Snap here, there he is, and then on the bottom, it's got all that stuff, you know, the year it released, who's licensing it, stuff like that. And so does the bowl of cereal. It actually has the Kellogg's on the bottom. It also has the Funko logo, and that is just such an odd one. I mean, come on, let me know what you guys think. And well, everybody, there we go. That is all of the weird Funko Pops that don't look like Pops in my collection. And anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy, because this was a lot of fun to go through them. And so with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.